Most people don't notice the quiet moments that change their entire lives. Those small, ordinary seconds that seem forgettable until fate decides otherwise. But on that freezing November evening, when Jacob Hayes offered his worn-out jacket to a shivering woman at a deserted bus stop, he unknowingly stepped into a story far bigger than kindness. A story that would shatter his beliefs, test his heart, and remind him, and all of us, that the simplest act can open doors we never imagined. And it all began with a breath of icy wind, a trembling stranger, and a choice that would rewrite both their destinies. The city was cold that night. The kind of cold that makes every exhale look like smoke, the kind that slips into your bones and lingers there. Jacob walked with his shoulders hunched, hands shoved deep in the pockets of his faded jacket, counting the minutes until he could reach the tiny basement apartment he called home. His day had been long. 12 hours at the warehouse had drained every ounce of strength he had left. But overtime meant a little more money, and a little more money meant he could keep fighting to stay ahead of bills that always seemed determined to drown him. As he approached the old bus stop on the corner of 8th Street, he noticed someone sitting alone on the icy bench. At first, he thought it was just another commuter, but then he saw her shoulders shaking, not from tears, but from the piercing cold. She wrapped her arms around herself, trying to create warmth where none existed. Her suit looked expensive, but soaked from the earlier rain, it clung to her like frostbite waiting to happen. Her hair was neat, her shoes polished, but her eyes were tired, far too tired for someone who appeared so put together. Jacob hesitated only a second before instinct took over. He stepped toward her, pulling off his jacket, the one thing keeping the cold from clawing at his skin. "Excuse me," he said gently. "You look freezing. Please take this." The woman looked up, startled. She studied him carefully, as though trying to determine whether he had a hidden motive, but all she saw was sincerity. Her lips trembled as she whispered, I can't take your jacket. You'll freeze." "I'll manage," Jacob replied with a small, reassuring smile. "Please." "I insist." After another moment of hesitation, she accepted it. The warmth enveloped her almost immediately, and she let out a breath she had been holding far too long. "Thank you," she murmured, looking down at the fabric as though it were something precious. "You didn't have to do that." "Yeah, well," Jacob shrugged, now shivering himself. "Nobody deserves to freeze waiting for a bus." Silence fell between them, a gentle, comfortable silence broken only by the distant hum of cars. She studied him again, noticing the exhaustion etched into his face, the calluses on his hands, the weariness in his posture. Yet there was a softness to him, a quiet strength that she couldn't quite place. "I'm Nora," she finally said. "Jacob," he replied. She nodded slowly, as if committing the name to memory. The bus never came for her, though she didn't mention why. Instead, after several minutes, a sleek black SUV pulled up, startling Jacob. A driver stepped out, rushing to open the back door. Nora rose to her feet, handing Jacob a final grateful look. "You'll see this jacket again," she said softly, almost mysteriously. "And I hope I see you again too." Before Jacob could ask what she meant, she was gone, leaving behind only a whisper of perfume and the warmth of a kindness exchanged between strangers. He walked home without a jacket, trembling from the cold, but for some reason, he felt lighter than he had in years. Something about that encounter stirred a feeling inside him, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, his life was about to change. And he had no idea how right he was. 3 days passed. Jacob had returned to his routine, wake up before dawn, drag his aching body to work, push through the shift, and catch the late bus home. The cold was sharp, and without his jacket, every morning felt like walking through shards of ice. Still, he didn't regret a thing. His co-workers joked about his heroic sacrifice, but Jacob didn't care. He hadn't done it for praise. On Friday morning, everything changed. He arrived at work to find the warehouse buzzing like an electric hive. Everyone stood near the entrance, whispering with a mixture of curiosity and panic. A line of luxury cars stood parked outside, sleek, intimidating, completely out of place in the gritty industrial district. "What's going on?" Jacob asked his supervisor, who looked as nervous as everyone else. "The CEO of Lachine Corporation is visiting," he whispered. "The CEO? Here? Something about a new community partnership or restructuring, I don't know. Just try to look alive." Lachine Corporation, one of the largest tech companies in the state. Their CEO was known for being brilliant, ruthless, and impossible to impress. Jacob had only heard whispers about her, rumors from articles people shared or gossip that trickled through the city. But he never paid attention. Her world was galaxies away from his. The warehouse doors opened, and a group of executives stepped inside, all sharp suits and serious expressions. Then she walked in. Nora. Jacob's breath caught in his throat. There she was, the same woman from the bus stop, but now wearing confidence like an armor. Her posture was straight, her gaze piercing, and her presence demanded attention without her saying a word. Employees bowed their heads slightly as she passed, murmuring respect. But Nora wasn't looking at them. She was looking for him. When their eyes met, something unspoken passed between them, recognition, gratitude, and something softer, something she wasn't used to showing in public. She walked straight toward him, ignoring the confused glances from her executives. Jacob felt rooted to the floor, unsure whether to smile, bow, or pretend he didn't exist. "Jacob," she said warmly, her voice carrying a familiarity that stunned everyone around them. "I've been looking for you." He blinked. "You have?" She nodded, holding in her hands a beautifully wrapped package. "I believe this belongs to you." She extended it toward him. "And there's something else we need to discuss." The warehouse fell silent. Even the machines seemed to pause. Jacob slowly unwrapped the package. Inside was his jacket, cleaned, repaired, and folded with care. But beneath it lay something more, a letter with the Lachine Corporation's seal. His hands trembled as he opened it. A job offer. A real job. Not temporary, not seasonal. A stable position with benefits, training, and a salary he had never dared to dream of. "I didn't give you my jacket to get anything in return," Jacob whispered, overwhelmed. "I know," Nora replied softly. "That's exactly why I want to help you. That night, I was returning from a meeting that went terribly wrong. I felt alone. Lost. Questioning whether everything I'd built was worth the cost." She glanced down, vulnerability flickering in her eyes. "Your kindness reminded me that the world still has good people. People who act without expecting anything. People like you." He swallowed hard, unable to speak. "I'm offering you an opportunity," she continued gently. "Not because you saved me, but because I saw who you are, a man who deserves a chance to rise." The room around them faded as her words sank deep into his heart. For the first time in a long time, Jacob felt hope, raw, overwhelming, and impossible to ignore. This moment, was the beginning of something extraordinary. And neither of them had any idea where it would lead.